I'm Andy Schmuckler. I'm talking today about what I call the best understanding of something that's reasonable to call evil. And I defined it as a force of evil, a coherent force that consistently works to make the world more broken or to make the human world worse. That definition, I say, applies to a reality that I claim to show, and in some ways have tried to show a little in this series. But the point of calling it a force should be added, given the additional dimension of making it clear that it's a force, which means that it's something operating in the larger world. It isn't about individual people are not, I don't like to think of people as evil. There is a force operating. It's a force of brokenness, and people get broken in a whole lot of ways because of what they're born with biologically, plus the experiences that they have in the world that they're born into. And they end up the way they end up. And I figure there, but for the grace of God, go I. I was born with my particular, came from the factory with, and I went on to have the variety of experiences I've had. And between the interaction of all that, here I am. If you'd been born with the same thing, this is where you'd be too. That's how I look at it. I don't hate Donald Trump. I know a lot of people who do. I see people like Trump as being channels in a way, if I think of it energetically or in terms of flow, like the things which form them that are broken, and then the brokenness that comes out of him as a result of who he becomes and what motivates him as a malignant narcissist that he is. If I had been born what he was born, but I'm not going to blame him for being who he is. I see us all as the fruit of the world, even though I also acknowledge that we make choices all the time, and we also develop ourselves in the ways that we choose to do things to make ourselves develop in certain directions. All that's true. All that kind of free will is there, but basically, we don't choose how we're born or what we're born into. And if you believe in cause and effect, there's a lot that seems to me to follow. I'm not into evil, labeling people as if they're not channels. Might see them as carriers of evil, as evil being this these different forms of brokenness that get transmitted. They're kind of a disorder of the system. And you can think of it as being a kind of a disease that you do to somebody what makes them into the destructive people that they're going to be in the world. And the force of brokenness that I say inevitably emerge gets the victory of having this person do these brokenness creating things. It's the force. It's the coherent thing. It's the way. It's the issue is the systemic vision of it, which has got to do with human sinfulness, if you want, because people do get so broken, and who knows for sure exactly what we emerge out of our biological evolution to have within us. You can call some of it sin. I'm kind of dubious about that, but I'm not into considering other people my enemy, because I don't see evil as being about the badness of individuals, even though there are people who are terrible monsters, terribly bad people. You can see them with their disproportionate impact on history. But the way we need to address it is to look at the systemic force. The ugliness we see in human history is not human nature writ large. What we see in this terrible election is the consequence of a whole lot of brokenness, by the way, inadequately opposed over the years of the last generation by the forces of wholeness, to get to the point where the American people would choose evil. It's a systemic thing, and it operates also within the brokenness of individuals. So individuals aren't irrelevant, but the focus needs to be on the force, which is a systemic thing, and healing at structural and individual levels is called for to defeat brokenness. Thank you. Go to abetterhumanstory.org if you want to see some of these kinds of ideas fleshed out.